Welcome to the Product and Cake podcast. Today with your hosts, Gonche
and Paul.
And we are welcoming you to the brand new episode of Product and Cake, tackling the topic business-led versus product-led. And it's not about LEDs, it's about strategy.
Yeah, it was funny when I was searching a little bit for this topic to have more to say. I just searched organizations that are business-led, but it showed me what happened.
I touched the cable. Sorry.
It's okay. Should we continue?
Yeah, continue, of course. Always continue.
All right. Yeah, so we are recording like this. You will hear everything. But yeah, so when I was searching for organizations that are business-led versus product-led, Google suggested me to search for corporations that are LED, and then it showed me a lot of lamps. So we are not going to talk about lamps. We are going to talk about strategies.
Exactly, because we stay with the main topic, product and technology, because we are both working in a technology company, basically, building the market leader car platform. And of course, it's a very big question how to maintain speed and be innovative, even though you are the market leader and you reached a significant size of people who want to be involved, who want to be heard, who don't want to be overruled, all the stuff that comes with people. So it's a big, big topic, and we will tackle the surface. And big thank you to Art, who's basically my manager and was listening to the podcast episodes and suggested this topic. So in my next one-on-one based on this podcast, I need to justify myself maybe.
Yeah, so this is a very important topic, and there are a lot of different ways that you can run the company and you can define the strategies for the company. It can be based on the technologies that the company is using or the products that the company is going to build, or based on the business. I think one of the books that, from my perspective, went really deep into the topic was Empowered. I think it's by Marty Kagan, and it went really into the topics of empowered product teams, how successful companies are dealing with their product teams, how the product teams then work on the technology of the company, not as a service to the business, but as the main aspect of the business. And I would really recommend everyone to read it.
Definitely. So you're saying putting the product in the middle of the strategy because we are basically building a tech product?
Yeah, exactly. So at least this is what the book really touches upon, that you can deal with the company in two different ways. If you have, for example, a company that sells tickets for trains and buses online, are you considering your company a ticket sales company, or are you consider your company a technology company? So this even slightest things that you use for the terminology to define your company has an impact on the way that you're running the business. So in one of the ways, you are focusing more on the technologies that you're using. So it will be more innovative. It will be disrupting the market by using those technologies. But on the other side, if you are considering yourself a ticket sales company and just using technology as a service, then you are just going to do the same thing that was happening offline, but online.
Yeah, and that maybe brings you into a situation where you don't get all the benefits from an online business. Because I think, especially in Germany, one of the biggest problems is that Germans tend to build an exact offline version online. And that, of course, don't uses all the possibilities you have in the technology world.
Yeah, I think in those scenarios, the tech teams instead of being empowered and being the front and center of the business, they will turn into feature teams. They will turn into the teams that that everything is set on stone for them, and they're just going to implement and build it. It's not going to be innovative.
So we are talking very much about organizational setup.
Yeah.
I found a definition of business-led versus product-led. I would really like to get your thoughts about it, because it's saying business-led teams are, by definition, where product decisions are driven by KPIs to grow revenue and profits.
Mm-hmm.
And product-led teams, in that kind of teams, the product decisions are driven by customer inputs to create a superior user experience. So basically the initial spark that pushes teams forward are from different sources.
Very good point. Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, at least again, from my personal perspective, I think if you are having a company or a business that is product-led, or it's mainly run by the way that we are treating the customers of that specific product or the service, at the end of the day, you will meet the KPIs. At the end of the day, you will be successful. Again, from my very personal opinion. And on the other side, when a company is mainly focused on KPIs, a lot of times those KPIs needs to be aligned based on the consumer needs. You need to meet those needs, at least in the long run. So it might be profitable for a short period of time, but then at a certain point you realize that, or the consumers will realize that this is not necessarily to their benefit after a certain threshold.
Yeah, exactly. The business-led approach puts what you said in the beginning, the tech team more into a workforce. So what is going on is there's some kind of research that you need to have the following product developed. Then maybe the product manager is pitching it. Then they are creating specifications. And next one, it goes into the development to afterwards check if the KPIs that were initially set are reached. Mm-hmm. So you degrade a complete part of the organization. You are paying very well, because it's hard to find engineers still. And you put them into a situation where they just follow orders, more or less.
Yeah.
And I think there's a huge knowledge and dedication to the topic, ideally, that is not used in that approach.
Yeah, that is exactly also what this book Empowered mentions, that feature teams, which is in the same example that you mentioned, is the same thing. Feature teams are often tasked with creating a feature as quickly as possible, and they are tasked with that specific feature, so everything is already predefined. And empowered product teams are the teams that are empowered to solve consumer problems in ways that works for the business. So at the end of the day, the goal is having a sustainable business. It's rarely the case that we are completely going to remove the business aspect from the company, but it is the different ways that we are going to meet those needs of the business.
Yeah. Rutger Bregman, in his book Humankind, is saying that people act like how you expect from them. And this empowered approach, or also more product-led, requires all other parts of the organization to trust the product and tech team to have also the knowledge about the business mechanics and the business model. And I think when you are not working in product and tech, you can make very much in educate your colleagues into that, so that the knowledge is spread, and then you can trust in the people that they will learn and understand and build a product that is meeting the expectations in the end.
Yeah, and so I think here we should clarify something. When we are talking about a product-led team or a business, we are not going to remove the roles of supporting roles in a lot of businesses, such as or supporting functions in a lot of businesses, such as HR. That HR person has a direct impact on the product. That a sales team member has a direct impact on the product. Yes, in this scenario, we are considering the team or the organization product-led, but it doesn't mean that only the product managers or only the tech people who have a direct access to the product are the frontier. I think it's a mind shift in every single person within the business.
It's a mind shift, and it's also a question of how knowledge is going through the organization.
Exactly,
because the sales teams, they have so important knowledge about the customers, and they know what the customer is asking for. And okay, it's common sense that also product should talk to customers, but it's more in a research way or in an experiment way. But the day-to-day business, it's so valuable to get that information and to educate the people also there, to find out what is important for the product and how can the exchange between product and sales, but also HR and all the other functions can work.
Yeah, I completely agree. When we talk about product-led, also often, at least recently, we hear it in the sense of product-led growth versus sales-led growth or marketing-led growth. I think this is a new movement, or at least, again, based on my research, I felt that this is quite new or started in 2017, 2018. So again, it's still
super old.
Well, if you want to consider the birth of software around 1940,
okay,
then it's quite new in the young life of online businesses that we are facing with product-led growth versus marketing-led growth and sales-led growth. So this time it's not necessarily about the organizational setup, but it is based on how we are going to grow the business from one customer to 10x. So it is comparing different setup of not necessarily the teams, but different setups of how we are going to improve our product. Are we going to improve our product based on the user's needs? Again, very similar to the organizations that what we put in the front and in the center, but it is the difference between are we going to 10x our business mainly based on the relationship that the sales team has with the customers, based on the increases of prices of the service that the users are already getting, or no, because there will be additional services that the consumer buys because the product is so good.
And all of that are super important questions, and I think multiple ways are totally valid to follow. But it is important to set intentional the approach and to explain the approach to the team and set up the teams accordingly. Because having everything a little bit, that leads to chaos and to bad prioritization or no prioritization at all. Because if you don't bring the teams intentionally together to follow one of these approaches, then you have conflicting needs. And we just recently discussed about that sales have requirements to product to meet their business goals, to get their bonus in the end of the year. But product wants to have product-led growth or product-led strategy. And then they say, okay, sorry, but what you're just saying is not relevant for the long-term product. So it's super, super complicated, but you need to bring that together.
Exactly. And what you mentioned, I want to take with me that you mentioned it needs to be clear, it needs to be decided that, okay, this is the way that we are going to move forward, and it needs to be clearly communicated with the team. Because if we have different understandings in the same organization, we are going to run in very different directions.
Yeah, especially in this crazy times we're living in, where everything is chaotic. I think it's fair to make a decision, but also explain that the decision is based on the information in that specific moment, and that you will revalidate it, and that you are trying, and that you are going forward. But you need to set some boundaries to have the people be creative in a certain direction, and not in all directions at the same time. And I, of course, know that the people want to have long-term plans, and they want to be sure that everything is set in stone, and then they can follow that path. But we need to accept that this is not the time we're living in. We are not living in the industry with the very young tech at all, but also not in the time where we can just relay that one decision we do today is valid for all the time.
Yeah, completely. I completely agree. Yeah. And again, this comes back to a lot of different companies and different ways that they need to run their business. And I don't think we can say one simple solution or one single solution can work for every single business and every single company. I, for sure, personally prefer product-led growth, product-led businesses, empowered product teams. But I also understand that in a lot of businesses, this might be more damaging, not only to the business, but to the people who are part of that business and have been working in a certain way for a very long time.
You need to talk to the people in your organization. And of course, the businesses are different, but also the people are different. And maybe you have a super strong business person in your team, and it makes totally sense to let that person drive and define the strategy and roadmap. But it could also be the other way around. Or it could be that we need to try it for the next 6 months because of certain requirements from the market or from the strategy.
Yeah, I agree.
So in the end, don't follow a buzzword. Learn about them, get your inspiration, and then make an intentional decision.
And communicate it.
Wow. So I hope that's your thing you take out of this episode.
And also read the Empowered book.
Yes.
I would totally recommend it.
We add it to the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right. So thank you for listening up to this point. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it, right?
Yes, totally. Feedback and questions and also opposite opinions are always welcome.
And also, if you have any recommendation for us, what topic to talk about, if you have any person in mind that you think we should interview for any specific topic you have in mind, we would love to hear that. So you can send it to us via email.
Yeah, sure. Or via social media networks. You will find us, I guess.
Yes, there will be some info of how to contact us in the description.
Yeah,
Look for it.
Or send it via snail mail to mobile.de office and write CO Product and Cake Podcast. So a lot of people will know about the podcast then.
That's a good point. Let's do it. Thank you. And bye again.